Hi, I'm doing well. Thanks so much for having me.
I'm so happy to have you here. Where are you calling in from?
I'm in London, but I'm Canadian originally, which is why my accent and time zone don't really match up.
Across the pond, but up north originally. Wow. Okay.
Yes,
Cool.
global
What time is
citizen,
it
if you
in
will.
jolly old England right now?
It is 3:32 p.m.
Okay. It's still sensible. Sensible for a Zoom call.
Yes, there's still daylight, and we actually have sunshine today, which is such a gift.
Wow. First time in a year, I hear.
Yeah, it's like Stockholm syndrome, you know?
Oh my gosh. Well, Erin, tell me a bit about what you do. I read a little bit about your bio, and obviously, we haven't all been AI practitioners our whole lives, so I'd love to hear a little bit about what got you to this point.
Definitely. Well, I've been in the future of workspace for about the last decade, focusing on a whole bunch of different topics, whether it was remote work and digital nomadism or the freelance revolution and the portfolio careerist. But it's impossible to ignore in the last few years the impact that AI and technology have had on jobs and skills. And so my now co-founder and I were chit-chatting about this last year because we both write about the future of work a lot. And we thought, gosh, like the media is really scaring people into how AI is going to steal your job. And we just thought, hold on a minute, we're also the media. So let's go out and actually get the data and figure out how people are using AI in this day and age, and really what maturity and readiness looks like, because it's such a moving target with things moving so quickly. So what actually began as a research project that was supposed to be, just a white paper and hanging out with some researchers from Harvard actually snowballed into us creating an entire diagnostic tool where anyone can talk with our AI conversational assistant and get a full report on their AI readiness. So this is anything from benchmarks against your peers, because it's not helpful if you're an accountant to get benchmarked against a software developer who's been doing this for 20 years. And also just looking at the different dimensions and aspects of your adoption so that you can see where you can experiment and grow in different directions.
I love that. That's so fantastic. So this is a free tool that people can use and figure out, or how does it work?
Definitely. It's free for individuals, and we also have a team solution as well. But we want to keep it free because it's such a hard thing to navigate. So anyone can actually go to our site. I think they'll be sharing some of the links in the chat as well, and they can chat for 15 minutes and get that report right away.
I love that. So it's AI telling you about AI.
Yes, we drink our own Kool-Aid for sure.
Delicious.
Yes.
So, for professionals navigating this shift, there's people in different points in their journey right now, and it sounds like you're helping meet people where they are. What are the key skills or even mindsets that they should develop to stay relevant, stay current with AI in the workplace?
Totally. I think there's a few on both the skill set and the mindset side of things. I think the very first one is really activating that critical thinking, not just in going, hey, is this output what it should be from my AI, but also that new, well, not so new skill, but newly important skill of translating business needs into prompts. Because AI can write code now. So like you don't really need to be a software developer, or it can write copy for you. You don't need to be a copywriter. But what you need to do is understand that puzzle of what that output is trying to solve. So how do we actually turn this problem that maybe our customers are experiencing into a tool or product that works? How do I write that prompt almost like a product manager to get code off the other end? Or how do I position this content so that it really is hitting home to our end users? So I think learning that intersection of business and technology is one really huge skill, but there are so many more to learn. So the other thing I think is lifelong learning, like the aspect of every day is a school day. And the half-life of skills now is shorter than it's ever been before. Because back in the day, you could go to school in like the 80s, get a degree, and this might serve you for 30 years. But things are changing so rapidly now, especially in business and technology space. By the time you learn it in a formal education institution, it's probably out of date. So how do we go about constantly seeking that really great new information?
I love that. I, as a teenager, wasn't a huge fan of school, but now I love the mindset of every day is a school day because it is exciting to learn new things now for me.
Totally. Well, and it's interesting that we talked about school too, because World Economic Forum had this crazy stat that came out that I think it came out a few months ago, but I was just reading it earlier today. And it's 65% of kids entering elementary school today are going to work at jobs that don't even exist yet. So, like, learn new skills for what? Traditional skill acquisition in school has basically trained you for a specific role, but these roles don't exist. So, we need to constantly seek new information outside of traditional channels.
Yeah, it was like learn cursive, arithmetic, coding, and it's like all of this Latin, like all those things are like,
Yeah.
no, I
You're not going to have a calculator in your pocket every day. Like,
don't.
everything is changing.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah. So I'm curious, how do you help people through this? So they do the matrix, the AI matrix. What is that like for the next step?
Yeah, I think it's part of this concept of you need to know where you are to know where you're going.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of people haven't necessarily deep dived into what AI maturity and adoption looks like across a number of dimensions. So you might be at a scale of adoption in different levels. So you might go from AI aware, you know about it, all the way through to AI first. So you're like aware, enabled, enhanced, driven, and AI first. But that might impact you and your organization across a number of areas that not all of us think about all the time. So it might be, is culture and mindset the blocker? Is it about process integration, ethics and governance, tool adoption, skill development, impact and measurement? Like, that's a lot to track for any person. And so by going through a tool like this, we can highlight and say, hey, maybe your collaboration is low in this one area, or you're doing a really great job of leveraging AI for decision making. And we can just point and look at those different aspects in a way that most people aren't really paying attention to.
Yeah. So once we start to gather this information, then the folks that are helpful with change management, huge part of AI adoption. So what are some of the challenges that you're working with or you're noticing that organizations are facing when they're trying to integrate AI? And how can the individuals that are being practitioners, that are being leaders in the space, how can they help along with that transition?
Oh, totally. And I think the first biggest thing is learning what change management actually is, especially when we talk about what is typically quite a technical implementation if it's AI, right? Usually there's an IT team involved. And when do they see a project is being done? When the last Jira ticket has shipped. But that's not what change management is. Change management is when people are using that new thing like business as usual. So how do we actually make sure we go from, okay, I implemented the tool, now how does everybody actually use it? I think that's the harder part. And traditionally, change management was done by some third-party consultant who comes in for a few months and helps you achieve something. But it's tough because in this day and age, we need change management, change resilience to be a part of everybody's job description. So we all kind of need to be a part of this journey. So how do I make it where it's not just one person responsible for change, but all of us have a role to play within this? Whether it's me being more open-minded to try new things, or me being involved more early in discussions and pulling other people in earlier for discussions on which tools we need or how we're going to go about implementing it. So I think that's a really tough thing that we're coming around to learn, is that the change velocity that we have in organizations today is so different than it used to be. We can't just bring that person in to help us with one thing and then they leave. Like, we have to pay attention to all these things that are changing. There's some interesting stats on the pace of change in organizations as well that I'd love to share. So I
Please.
think it was 1985, Intel was making one major organizational change every year and a half or so. So that's, think like people, process, product. If you change one of these things, that's a major organizational change. So one every year and a half. And then 2023, the average tech company was making three major organizational changes every quarter. So that's 2023, let alone this big generative AI boom that we have now. And the fact that 2032, it's going to be probably a $12 trillion industry when we talk about digital transformation. So we can't just have one person in an organization responsible for this. It's touching every area, every person, every process, every tool. So we need to all get involved and involve each other.
Yeah, absolutely. And because it's touching everyone, there's a wide range of experiences and emotions flying around about this. Some of us are gung ho, some of us are excited, some of us are scared about some of these things. You mentioned earlier, the news is there's a lot of fear of like AI is coming for your job. On the flip side, we've heard many people say AI isn't going to take your job, but people that know how to use and yield AI will. So there seems to be a lot of different information flying around, a lot of different opinions. What advice would you give to professionals who are skeptical or unsure about AI's role in their career?
Totally. I think I can offer both a reality check and a mindset shift. And so
Please. I think we could all need
the
it.
I know, and I think we're looking to inform as the key ones that are doing the global lens of all of this, right? So they have a new jobs and skills report that comes out every year. It came out in February. So if you want to see these stats, you can see them yourself there. But yes, there will be some jobs displaced by AI. They're anticipating about 92 million, but they're not actually talking about the fact that there's almost double that number that will be created from AI. So kind of what we were talking about before, there's jobs that don't even exist yet. So we're actually going to have around 170 million jobs that are created. And the biggest number is how many are actually going to transform. So there's, about 1 billion jobs that are going to be transformed or changed because of AI and or machine learning. So that's the reality, is that AI isn't going to take your job, but it's more likely going to be transforming or changing it. So this is like any other kind of major digital transformation we have, remote working and all kinds of different technological revolutions. It will probably be the largest and the most impactful, but it is not going to take your job. You're just going to be able to adapt. So that's like my reality check side of things. And then I
Yeah.
can offer that mindset shift, right? Of like seize the day, seize the opportunity. There's a really fantastic stat that I love, especially for anyone who's thinking about making a change in their career or new to their career. So 66% of hiring managers will no longer hire someone without AI skills, which is like, ooh, I should get them. But the best part is that 77% of managers are willing to hire someone with less experience if they have AI skills. So I go, okay, if I learn these skills, I'll get these other jobs, but I also maybe don't need the 10 years of experience in this programming language that's only been out for 5 to actually get this job, right? And actually get an interview. So for me, I get excited because this allows people to leapfrog ahead in ways that they might not have been before. So get excited, experiment a little bit, play, have fun, and just constantly think, will AI solve this problem? And that's how you're going to learn and actually reduce that fear, I think.
I completely agree. That makes so much sense because, as you said, everything is shifting, but there's going to be all of these jobs that transform or change or grow. And we're really going to be utilizing our expertise, actually. Because if you're an expert in a certain niche, that will help focus the AI on, as you mentioned earlier, the prompts, right? The puzzle that it's trying to solve. And then you can go, well, that's actually, it's doing a different thing. I want it to do this thing, but I have that expertise, so I know to point it
Yes.
in that direction.
Totally. And that's like kind of the whole point is there's 3 categorizations of AI. There's what can we automate? What can we augment, which is exactly what you're talking about, and where most of us are living right now. It's a human using AI, right? This is where most of the stuff is. So how can I take my expertise, lived experiences, and things that will be innately human and proprietary to me, because only I have lived them, and how do I wrap that in AI? So like human wrapped AI. And then the last bucket are things that are just probably shouldn't be touched by AI or will be low exposure and low risk, right? So if you look at it from this perspective, there's lots of opportunities for us to live in this very comfortable area here in the
Yeah.
middle.
Yeah, yeah. So that's where we are now. So looking ahead, what are some emerging AI trends that professionals you would recommend should be paying attention to, and how can we stay on the pulse, keep our finger on the pulse with what is happening down the road?
Yeah, definitely. I think newest trends, everything I'm seeing this year, it's the year of the agent.
You're the
So
agent. Yeah.
agent this, agent that, everybody's got an agent, right? And the way that I kind of position it is it's going to be this new hybrid. So we've seen a few hybrid workforces come out. There was on-site versus remote, so who's working from the office and who's working from home. We also had freelancers versus employees, so like this hybrid team and makeup of people who might work there full-time or be contractors. And now we're going to have humans and agents. And so you might have entire teams of agents that work autonomously with each other, but we might have a person managing a mixture of teams and of humans and agents as well. And so I think this is going to be one of the biggest trends of going, how do we segment the tasks in our workforce between automation, augmentation, and human only? and then get the right provider of skills, whether it's a human or an agent, to do these things together. And it might not just be the tasks, it might be what we enjoy doing as well, right? Of let's automate certain things more than others. And so I think this is going to be one of the biggest trends we can look for. But when it comes to staying on top of the next trends, the biggest thing is just to keep coming to events like this, keep meeting other people and going different places, because what's cool about AI is that everybody has become a creator or a software composer or someone who can basically take their specialty and expertise and then unlock and build stuff. So the traditional channels to learn things, you might not find the coolest, latest things. You have to talk to other humans and you have to keep interacting to find this stuff out. So get out there, explore, share ideas, and be inspired, I would say.
I love software composer. I hadn't heard that before.
Mhm.
It's very like makes me think of an orchestration.
Exactly. It's all a beautiful dance.
Truly, truly. Oh my gosh, I love that. I'm definitely taking that one with me today. Thank you for
Do
that.
it up.
Yeah,
Sharing is
because people are
caring.
talking about like vibe coding a lot right now, you know?
Yes.
That's kind of the buzzy word that I can't escape anytime I open my feed. Tell me a little bit
Yes.
about what that is. I like yours more, but tell me what vibe coding is.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like vibes is such a trend right now in general. Like, even if
Really?
you've heard of this term vibe investing.
Really? It's in the
So,
investment space too? No, I
yes.
haven't heard this. Oh my gosh, Aaron, tell me
And
what's
like,
happening.
vibe investing, there's a few interpretations of it, but kind of it's when you're like just simply interested in something. So you're like, I don't know if this necessarily checks all the boxes of what I would normally be investing in as a VC, but I think it's interesting. It might add a little bit of sex appeal to my portfolio because it's some new trendy tool, or you're just getting into different areas that you think are like personally interesting. It's like vibes. It's not necessarily vibes of, the traditional I'm investing in the founder, not the product. It's more like I think something is cool and I'm going to throw money at it and see if it works.
What's
So maybe
interesting
it's the year of agents and year of vibes.
about what's interesting though, if we were to take off a little bit of the buzzword, what we're talking about is intuition.
Mhm.
And that's what I find very interesting when I'm interacting with AI is what do I intuitively notice that it's doing? Because I can study it and I can read white papers and I can do all this stuff, but my intuition comes into play and I'll start going this dance with it. And then suddenly I might have an MVP or a new idea or something like that.
Yeah, it's kind of like this riffing and iteration. And
Yeah.
in a perfectly well-oiled machine of a human team, this is what's supposed to naturally happen as well. I share an idea, you build a thing, you share it with someone else, they have some feedback, and they build and iterate. And now we're just unlocking that at such large speeds, and you're able to have a thought partner, a coding partner, and a designer at your fingertips, really. And that starts getting really exciting, where you can ride that train of motivation and thought so much quicker than you can before, which makes that beautiful dance.
100%. If you could fast forward, and I know this is very hard to predict, but 5 years from now, what's one way you think AI will change the way we work and that people
Mm.
aren't talking about enough yet?
Yeah, I mean, you might have to put your tinfoil hats on for this one, but there's this concept that I think about a lot lately called the dead internet theory. And there's two sides of this. One is that it's that the whole internet is going to be bots interacting with bots. The other side is that it's all orchestrated by like government entities and so forth. I'm less interested in like the conspiracy theory side, but we're already seeing a lot of indicators that this whole like bots dealing with other bots and no humans left on the internet is kind of becoming true. And one example I can give is actually in the hiring path. So Workday actually came out with a great report last year to see if the hiring world was recovering, like was the job market recovering. So job postings and signed job offers both increased by 10%, but number of applications increased by 30%. And so more people are creating resumes with AI than ever before. And more of the hiring process is actually controlled by AI and screening bots and everything else than ever before. So it's bot against bot going like this until finally we trigger a human, right? And what's crazy about that report is that they also said that hiring by referral has also increased by 30%. So what does this actually mean for how we interact in the way that we work? Is that there's more garbage online than ever before. It's getting a heck of a lot harder to sort through it. And I'm starting to lose trust and confidence in the information that I'm given. And so what do? I'm going old school. I'm not going to go through and sift through all these online resumes. I'm going to be like, Hunter, do you know someone who's a great marketer? You're like, gosh, can we just hire them? Because I can't find that right person in here because AI is kind of ruining the way that we can position ourselves as human beings and all of our beautiful, well-rounded expertise. And so hiring is just one area where we're starting to see it, but we're going to start to see this in a lot of other ways where we will be more human oriented, trust oriented, and maybe take a few steps back in places where AI should have been rolled out a little more slowly or with some more thought.
So what happens to the dead internet? Where do we go once the internet is just bots and agents?
I don't know, like touch grass or something.
But I mean, like,
No.
is there gonna be like a web 4.0 or a web reboot where like the humans communicate? Is this what like decentralized stuff is? Like what is our form of trust that is beyond just human referral because we're global teams?
Yeah, well, and at the end of the day, we're seeing some of these trends even with like content, right? It just means that we're getting away from owned platforms that have algorithms where these bots can kind of like fool an algorithm. But we're going to see a lot more emergence. Like, let's even look like newsletters in terms of content. All of us probably subscribe to a number of newsletters right now. And what is the job that they're actually doing? They're synthesizing that information and trying to sift through all of that for you. And who's doing it? Probably someone that you trust because of their expertise within that specific area. And we're going to kind of move this way. So we're probably going to see more and more of that curation element stick out. And it's going to kind of recenter on different groups, topics, and themes rather than being one big Google mess with an algorithm that any bot can create something that has SEO, but it doesn't mean it's more valuable to me just because it appears at the top.
Right. And now I have my bot synthesizing all of my newsletters and giving me the synthesis of the synthesis.
Yes.
And then I'm like, ooh, if there's that, then I'll go click into the newsletter if I want to
Yeah.
read.
Exactly. So you can kind of like self-explore. You have like triple distilled news. That's pretty cool.
It's
It's
like
like a
one of those
fine
really
whiskey.
fancy water purifiers that I'm like, you spent how much money on that thing? What is that? So how do you
Exactly.
use AI on a day-to-day basis for you, for what you're doing? What do you find the most value in? There's so many tools out there, and it can
Mhm.
be tool overload now because there's wrappers on wrappers on wrappers. So, what do you do to stay focused with the tools that are useful? How to use them, and how do you not go overload? And now this is my full-time job, is just testing tools.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to get comfortable. And I think as much as I say we should be lifelong learners, I have to constantly remind myself as well. So I'll share with people a very non-technical solution to keep exploring new things as well. But I have two sticky notes on my computer. One is, will money solve this problem? And the other is, will AI solve this problem? And I use this as a constant reminder of trying to think of different ways I can use either the tools that I already have and pay for to solve different things, or to find a new tool that specializes in that thing. So let's say it's like data analytics or anything else. But my diehards of what I use every day is Claude. I'm an Anthropic girly. And so I have Claude trained on probably 150,000 to 175,000 words that I've written. And I write a newsletter about the future of work every week. And so it helps me to get to a closer draft that I can then simply review rather than having to type everything and go from there. So one is like as a writing partner. I also use them as a consultant on pick any topic that is out there. So pretend you're a McKinsey consultant and ask me questions that I should be thinking about here. I use Claude as a therapist, being like, how should I handle this sticky situation with another person? What are some things I can consider? But even things like writing SQL queries. I know enough about the questions that I want to ask for my data, but I don't know how to ask in SQL to our database. And so I leverage it here. I use Midjourney for creating art and thumbnails for my newsletter. I use all different types of note-taking services that I've tried that take all of our different notes and then create tasks for us in Notion. Like Lindy, you can have it automate these things. So I don't even have to do anything with my notes. I just say, hey, AI, please write this down. And then it shows up in tasks for us. So
He's the one that
everything
does
has
tasks for
AI.
you.
doesn't do the tasks for you,
Oh
but it will
no.
take from
No,
your
but it
meeting
writes
notes.
the tasks in Ocean. Yeah, that's the agent.
Yes, you can automate
Select me
all of
in
it.
3 months and it will, right?
Exactly, yes.
No, that's good. I'm
So,
asking selfishly
yeah.
because I am using one note taker and it goes to Notion, but it doesn't parse the tasks. So I'm selfishly asking you.
Yes. I mean, you have to noodle with it a little bit and
Of
everything needs to be
course.
configured, but that's the thing is we're all going to be like a configuration station and have to kind of noodle these tools until they fit what you need them to do.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I'm also a Claude fanboy for
Yeah.
most things. And then uh the therapist aspect is real. And I have used Chat GBT because I can talk to it, and I'll do the
Mhm.
voice, and I feel like I can get some interim therapy sessions until I talk to a real therapist.
Yeah. And you know what's like you can kind of think of whichever tool that you want. Like it's a bit of a global arms race when it comes to the features. Like you have
100%.
voice on one, then you get voice on the other. You have projects on one, you have context holding on the other. So like we will end up finding tools that end up having kind of the same baseline features as everywhere else. But if you like the personality of one, why not?
Yeah, exactly. Whatever floats your boat, right? I'm not going to yuck anyone's yum. If you like this one,
Exactly.
go for it. Whatever feels right.
There's enough
Whatever
tools out there for
vibes.
all of us.
Whatever
Whatever
vibes
vibes.
you.
Yeah.
So we only have 2 minutes left. If there was one piece of advice that you would want people to walk away with today about AI, what is it?
Experiment and have fun. I think that's the biggest thing. We're in such an expansive time when it comes to these tools. You should embrace this as an expansive time for yourself. Of think out of the box, think of all the different ways that you can make your life better and just really reduce some of that fear by trying it for yourself. So get out there, build an MVP, have some ideas, like literally just write down every problem you have for a week and then sit down at the end of the week and be like, how many of these can I experiment with to try and solve with
Hmm.
AI? So
Hmm.
get out there and just try it is my only advice.
I love that. Yeah, because I have all of my army of note takers. And then at the end of the day, I'll be like, what are the ideas that I said today that could be feature sets, future road mapping? How can I improve my public speaking? Whatever it is, there's a lot
Yeah.
of internal work that I can do with these tools.
Yeah. And even it doesn't have to be professional life either. Like I would say some people are scared because work has really scared them that you shouldn't use things. But hey, just write down stuff even in your personal life. I'm going on holiday and my family is notoriously hard to please. Everyone wants a different thing. Throw it in there and have AI create an itinerary for you and book stuff for you. You can just think of this different stuff. So if it's personal, if it's a passion project, or if it's work, just start dabbling.
Well, I just learned a little bit about your travel plans, so good luck.
Thank you.
And what is the best way to stay in touch with you, Aaron, if folks want to reach out, learn more, and keep the conversation going?
Absolutely. Well, add me on LinkedIn. I would love to hear about what you're working on. You can subscribe to my newsletter, which is weeklyworkforce.com. But also, please
That's a
use
little
our
slower
tools.
for me. What's it called?
Oh, yes, weeklyworkforce.com.
Weekly. It's got a nice sound to it. Weeklyworkforce.com.
Yeah, level a bit of alliteration.
We love alliteration in marketing. We love it.
Yes. But also please use our tool. It's for free and we're keeping it free because we've been gifted with some beautiful credits to keep the price low at $0. So use that and explore and have fun is the only thing I'll leave you with.
I love that. Is it Claude under the hood? You Claude girly? Is that what's going on? Or is that proprietary?
We're we're LLM agnostic actually. So
It's important. It's very important because if
yes.
one goes down, you need to be ready with the next.
Well, and a lot of companies are building their own these days. So we'll be able to kind of plug in whichever kind of secure parameters that they need. But we won't get into the boring stuff this late.
I know. You and I will talk offline. I'm talking shop inside baseball now. Aaron, this has been so great. Thank you so much. I hope you come back and have a great rest of your day.
You as well. Thanks for having me. Bye.
Anytime. Bye.